I got some plywood scraps on the marketplace from a cabinet maker to use on my CNC. As it's going to work, I wanted to get something done myself, and this is how I started working on this bench. I want it to be thick, not look cheap, no cutting corners into making the best bench I can make and sell it for the most money I can from a pile of plywood scraps. I've used a design in the past, the herringbone pattern, on a table on one of my earliest videos. I'm revisiting this pattern today. I'm ripping down plywood scraps into 2-inch strips, which will be the thickness of the table. I need a lot. I've got ideas if I make extras anyway. I'll count them once I'm done, and the build guide available on mattbuilds.com will have precise quantities needed. While you're at it, please like this video and subscribe. It helps YouTube show it to more people. Thanks to all subscribers. To cut them to length at 5 inches, I'm using my miter saw and a homemade stop block made of blocks of wood clamped to my saw. A crosscut sled would have let me make those on the table saw. Someday I swear I'll make one. It's a project I've been pushing aside forever. The herringbone pattern is pretty simple. You just butt pieces against each other in a triangle and then repeat the same pattern as wide and as long as you want, creating a nice classic pattern. To make sure everything holds together, I use brad nails all along the build. Make sure to stay square and use plenty of glue. It's not time to cheap out. Making this bench takes a while, but it's all easy, repetitive work. Just remember to stay square. Once I'm done, or have long enough to consider this a bench, I clamped it up with some scrap wood on the side to make sure it stays square and tight as it dries. Use more clamps than not. You don't want to push the pressure to areas without a clamp. To cut this into a rectangle, I use a long metal ruler that I tape on the side of the bench top to give my table saw fence a flat reference. I rip that down with the ruler against the fence, which cuts a flat side on the opposite side. Once that's done, I can remove the ruler, flip the board over, and cut a parallel cut. For the sides, I use my miter saw and had to flip the board over as it's a non-sliding saw and not wide enough. I had to give it a few tries to get it flush, but by removing less instead of more, I can inch my way there. There was some minor imperfections where the planks meet, which was easily solved with a few satisfying runs of my number 4 hand plane. This saves me a lot of time sanding it nice and smooth with 120 grit than 220 grit sandpaper. I added a 45-degree chamfer all along the edges, then sanded it to perfection at 220 grit. To finish, I gave it a water-based gloss finish, 3 coats of it. When I started this project, I planned to make it all out of plywood, even the legs. I started to do a glue up all piled up vertically. Midway doing this, I realized it won't be strong at all enough to use as legs, with all the glue joints and plywood layers being in danger of causing the legs to collapse. Now that I've committed to making those, I'll find a use for them. I've seen amazing things done with similar glue ups on the lathe, and I've not used it in a while, so this might give me some ideas. I decided on metal legs from Amazon. At this price, I think I can turn a higher profit and save a ton of time over making wooden legs. They attach with a lot of screws and have brackets that go over the legs to protect them from twisting. I decided to hand screw the legs. I was scared using power tools would just strip the plywood on each screw. This feels super solid now. As it's my first plywood bench, and I want to make sure it doesn't give over time, I added hardwood reinforcements under. They're from palletwood that I've milled to use in various projects. I plan to post it for $200 and see if I can get a sale and some demand to make more and make some money. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and see you next time.